People are basically meat sacks of deceit, and as a consequence they usually seize every opportunity to screw you over, especially if it means they'll benefit in some way. But there are signs to tell if you can trust somebody or if they're about to Bill Cosby you, and here I'm going to give you 10 of them. If you like the video, please leave a like or a subscribe, it really helps me out. But without further ado, let's get into the video. It looks like something is definitely... Well, that was certainly not the hero's death I wanted. As always, we'll start with the most obvious and work our way up. So firstly, you need to watch the silence. If your teammate suddenly goes silent, this is usually a terrible sign for you. Don't stand there waiting for them to eventually reply. This is the time to keep your guard up. Something is going on in the background, something you're not in on, and as a result, you're probably the thing it's going to happen to. Then there's pointing weapons at or near your direction. Hear me out, because this sounds obvious, but there's more to it. Sometimes I've had players point a weapon at me claiming they're just checking something out, or they're joking, or whatever else they can think of. This is a huge red flag, so don't take it lightly. It's almost always a test to gauge your reaction. There is just never a reason to point a gun at your teammate. Next is inventory checking. If someone is overly interested in your inventory or keeps asking about your items, especially guns, be cautious. They might be assessing whether or not they can gain something from actually betraying you. This is especially concerning if they ask about guns. They want to know your firepower for defensive and offensive reasons. Always be discreet. Then there's unusual positioning. If a teammate starts positioning themselves behind you or is just slightly off in position when traveling, it's probably them gauging a good vantage point. Always be aware of your surroundings and the positioning of your team. If they're constantly moving to your blind spots, be extra cautious. They're either using you as fodder or waiting for the perfect opportunity to take advantage in some way. And this sort of leads into the next one, which is avoiding direct combat. And what I mean here is, when you do engage in battle, if they avoid engaging in combat directly and leave you to fend for yourself or take the lead every time, it could be a sign that they're setting you up for failure, waiting to take advantage of you when you're weak. It's a lot easier to work with somebody to get gear and then take them out to keep the score. It's basically just pirate code. This is especially true if they were previously eager to engage in fights but suddenly become passive. Then we have overly generous behavior. Look, working together and sharing gear, signposting things you find, and giving a heads up in situations is all normal, but it doesn't mean you're BFFs. Sometimes a player might act overly generous to lower your guard before betraying you. This tactic is often used to gain trust quickly, but they're not also only using you as a mule, they're probably waiting for the right time to strike. Next is asking about your base location and what you have there. Nobody needs to know where your base is. It's just not a thing. Don't take them there, don't tell them what is there, and don't hint at where it is. If they're asking about it, they have an ulterior motive. Nobody is just curious about where you stay. Well, most of the time. Then there's frequent disappearances or delays in communication. If your teammate frequently disappears and comes back with a vague or brief, seemingly uninterested response, they might be plotting against you with somebody else in a different chat. This is so common. They team up with someone until their friend comes online and then they bait you into a trap, giving your location away to their partner so that their partner can show up, kill you, and get the gear for themselves. Which leads me into the next one. A sudden change in your heading. If you guys are heading north and then suddenly he suggests you should head to a specific town or landmark in an entirely different direction, they're probably leading you into a trap. This is super common. Again, don't fall for it. Unless there's a reason or you've previously discussed going to this location, there's no reason for you to go there. You're being set up. But sometimes it's not even an ambush, because the next thing is unusual friendliness from strangers. If a stranger is unusually friendly and eager to join your team, or your teammate is easily willing to accept them, they probably know each other. This sounds weird, but you can actually trust somebody more if they plan to kill the new guy with you that they said could join. I know that sounds contradictory, but 9 times out of 10 it does mean that they do have some trust in you and plan on staying with you for the long term. But if you are ambushed, you'll need to learn how to defend yourself, and to learn that, all you have to do is click here, or for something else then click here. And as always, until next time.